the latest I thought was interesting, Jesse. Shanghai was an interesting lockdown, which anybody that knows anything about China, when Shanghai goes lockdown, you kind of pay attention. And they had like a scaled lockdown, I believe. But it's getting really bad there. In fact, I'm looking here at some information, and remember how we all of a sudden locked down, even though we didn't think we were going to, and we were all like, "That's the first ever," and then it kind of got like paid attention. We're like, "How severe is this?" Right? And for a good 3 weeks, I would say, everybody just like stayed home, and it was like empty on the outset. And I think for any of us that are alive since we're growing up, right, Jesse, that was probably a really weird time. You're almost like dystopian era. You know what I mean? Like anything in the Hunger Games, I kind of started to believe would be possible, but I never thought it would be possible. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Thank you for saying that. And there is a movie on it, Contagion, with Matt Damon. By the way, go check it out. It's actually really interesting, very telling. Came out way before. I think it was maybe produced in 2015, 2016, 2017. About what could happen. But you always think, oh, that's just a thing. But go watch it with Contagion. Really good movie. It's on Netflix, I believe, and you can check it out. I remember watching it during the beginning. I said, "No, this is severe. This is something going to happen for quite some time." But Shanghai's COVID lockdowns left thousands scrambling to stock up on supplies, while others quarantined in their offices to keep business running. So it's interesting that some are doing that. You know what, Jesse? Like, it's almost like they were kind of ahead. In that, okay, fine. I need to work, but I'm going to quarantine at my job. I've never heard of that. It's like get ready to take showers and get ready at work because you're not going home, right? You know what? I actually, well, I would hate for you to stay there because I know where you're at. If, but if you had to, I could see it. I could see it. Yeah, yeah. Well, I've been watching Van Life, right? And on YouTube, and I saw one couple actually that made it like it looked like I don't know how to call it, but like a SWAT because it was all black, and they had like major lights on the top and in the back. They had extra fuel in the back, and it was all covered in black. It was a van converted, which is really a thing across the nation that people are doing. It started a while back. I want to say like in 2000, 2000, probably 13, 14, 15, 16. Vans just converting into like living spaces, right? And I've seen some new builds, and I'm like, man, they're so nice. And a neighbor has a van. I'm like, you know what? How much are you are you willing to part with that van? Because you could get a van for very cheap, that's empty, and then make it a living space on the inside, convert it the way you want, or get somebody to do it for you. And it's pretty amazing. But I saw this couple, and it looked like a Black Ops van, with everything they wanted in it. And then they had the solar on the top, so they were ready to go with energy for days. They had good batteries. They had their bathroom. They had their setup, and they could go anywhere in the wilderness and just live off the grid. You know what I mean? Like I would say the new young version, because I want to say they're like maybe 23, 24, 25, 26, maybe. Young couple, and they just made it work. And you're like, when you see ladies that like are ready to rough it, but they're not ready to rough it all the way. They still want their conveniences, right? They want the stove, they want the sink, they want the modern convenience of the restroom. They have composting restrooms. They have all that. It's like I can see that. And then I thought, how many different virtual roles can you do? I saw one guy, he's a voiceover artist, and he has his van. He just does it out of his van. He's like, I don't think I'm going to do this forever, but I just like to, have options, right? And then he travels wherever he wants. He can visit anyone around the U.S. and or Canada and or Mexico, right? But I'm like, how that like that's options, you know what, during coronavirus. And I'm like, you know what, that's smart. But I've been watching that. We may have a guest, next few weeks on that subject. I'm hoping, so that you guys can kind of roll with that. But here's a situation in China: weeks of isolated compound lockdowns. The city of 25 million has been split into two earlier this week. Those living in Shanghai's eastern half were told to stay home, with the western half due to enter a lockdown on Friday. So they're doing a scaled event, which I think is actually not a bad idea, because it's kind of like, okay, give you time, but we need to get on this, all right? And the problem is um, there are several different mutations, right? We've talked about OM1, we've talked about OM2, we discussed very briefly OM3 and 4, but there's other variants of concern there as well, and they're identifying them, right? But there was a huge surge in cases. Now I will say, with the home kits, do they report those? No. So I would say, of course, the numbers are down here because everybody has a home kit, right? Did you get sent a home kit, Jesse? Okay, yeah, they were handing them out, and everybody was getting them, and I know we got sent a couple, but I will say, it's interesting because those numbers are not being tallied with the rest, right? And they kind of need to be. I feel, because there's more cases than we know here already. But the city there had reported 20,000 infections since March 1st, registering more cases in 4 weeks than in the previous 2 years of the pandemic. That's how bad it got. Okay, so their zero COVID strategies have been challenged by, of course, the variant, and the variant is different, right? Now we've got that situation happening in other parts of the world as well. So the question is it here yet? The answer is yes. There's a lot of articles that if you go look at it now they're saying, oh, two is kind of a concern. But I would say it's very concern. Okay, uh, if you got and which is why they're talking about it now, and now everybody's asking. The question is, are we going to need another vaccine? And the answer has been, as of late, yes, we're going to have vaccines anyway, because you only have a limited amount of time available. You want the most recent one to be able to combat the most recent mutations, right? And that's the problem with this disease. It doesn't stay just one, right? It's not like hepatitis, right? Hepatitis, I think, has 3 different strains. You have HIV, I think that has 3 different strains as well. But that's it. So you know how to analyze that. You know how to research that. It doesn't keep mutating again and again and again, right? This one does. That's the problem with it. And that's why people are like, what do we have to do next? And that's what we have to do. We have to be aware of it. So there are certain areas just in lockdown and others are not. But I say, for those that are, good job. You're keeping your people safe. But then you kind of want to say, what's your backup plan if all of a sudden in your neck of the woods there was lockdown? What would you do, right? What would your job do? What would your business do? And I think we have enough of, at least the couples that we've been in this, to say, all right, well, if schools are locked down, which they are in China, um, what would you do? Well, virtually, go back to virtual, right? You go back to the way you had to do it in October of 2020, when we had to do that, just ready to bunker it down for a good 3 weeks, and then you'd be fine. I don't think they're going to do like, in some way, there's no way they're going to do like a 6 month lockdown or 8 month lockdown. A lot of these areas that have done lockdown may be unpopular at the time, but I always say, look at places like Taiwan, right? Taiwan would celebrate everybody was getting on, right? Because they stepped it out really quick by major lockdown. And then they have like certain, like if you have had coronavirus, you kind of get tagged on your phone, and then you have like areas where you kind of, it tells you if somebody else has it in areas. I'm still kind of on the fence on that. I don't know that it's good for everyone because of privacy issues that people want. But we do share a lot of information on social media. You know what I mean? There was if Snapchat, I think you got Ghost edition, and or you could see if your friends are nearby, right? And then some people are like, "What? You track me?" So yeah, you can have stalkers, don't have stalkers, but yeah, you got to be careful. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on, so be careful and just be aware of where we're at. Again, with Shanghai going on this lockdown, it's been for the last week, when Disneyland there, because they have big Disney over there, really big in China. They shut down. They shut down before this, and I'm like, whoa, you got to pay attention. When amusement parks start shutting down, no one likes to lose money at an amusement park, right? Uh, but when they do that, they kind of go next level, and that's what they did. So a lot of people are preparing, and people are like, okay, well, if I got to go in quarantine, I want all my groceries. So that's the latest image from China. And again, it's kind of a situation we remember as well, way back when all of a sudden, when I said people kind of lost their minds, everybody was getting toilet paper and water. Do you remember that, Jesse? So let's not get to that level. Let's just be prepared. You know what I mean? I know. Yeah. Yeah. The months that I hated, the ones where you couldn't use the restroom anywhere. Because, like, no, go in. I'm like, where am I supposed to go? I need a composting toilet in my trunk. Seriously. Anyway, all right, we're gonna take a quick little break. We got more coming up right after these messages. Shout outs coming up next. Tell us where you're tuning in from. We'll be right back right after this.
Water in its natural state is the key to cellular hydration. Most of the water available to us has been processed for purity, safety, and convenience. But processing causes water to lose its natural hexagonal structure, with unfortunate effects for our bodies. Now you can take your personal hydration to a whole new level with the glassware that restructures water in just 3 minutes. Golden Ratio Products brings you these amazing water bottles, carafes, and drinking glasses which put the life back into the water you drink. Try it and you'll be amazed at the effects you feel in your body. Go to goldenratioproducts.com for the next phase of your water consciousness.
With Gourmia's spacious 7-quart digital air fryer, you and your loved ones can enjoy nourishing, succulent food. Fry Force 360 technology fries with air, so your food is crispy on the outside and moist on the inside, with up to 80% less fat. 10 one-touch functions including air fry, bake, and dehydrate, expedite painless meal and snack prep. The intuitive touchscreen is angled and displays temperature and time simultaneously for easy viewing and setting. Guided cooking prompts offer optional preheat with add food notifications and optional turn food reminders halfway through cooking. Cleanup's a breeze with a dishwasher-safe multi-purpose rack, nonstick crisper tray and basket. In addition, the built-in cord storage keeps your counter neat. Enjoy crispy, golden, air-fried foods your family and friends will love with Gourmia's 7-quart digital air fryer.
With you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
World-renowned psychologist, relationship expert, and best-selling author Dr. Carmen Hara hosts Live Now every Friday morning at 9 o'clock on Smart Talk Radio. Dr. Hara offers profound wisdom, practical advice, daily exercises, and empowering predictions, all for you. Experience your own positive transformation as Dr. Hara personally guides you to the answers that you have been seeking. Live Now with Dr. Carmen Hara every Friday morning at 9 o'clock Pacific Time on KMET Radio, podcast by SoundCloud.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM, and we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. We've got some tuning in people from across the nation. Betty Cooper tuning in. Stephanie Reed from Cleveland, Ohio says, hello, happy editing this glorious sunshine and gloomy Chilled, awesome, busy day ahead for today. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Yeah, I don't know if you saw, Jesse. There was a situation, and I kid you not, man. I was like, oh my goodness. Because we've been talking about that, look, in LA, we don't have like a cold situation right here, right now, right? We're really like kind of all right. I mean, temperatures are, what they are. It's still, the beginning of spring, right? Is what we should be in. But some of the country, Jesse, is really freezing. And when they're freezing, of course, we always talk about, okay, are you going to be safe along the way, right? And I say some areas, not so much. In Pennsylvania, Jesse, Pottsville, okay, there was a huge situation. And there was a pileup so bad. I will say it was like a scene out of a movie of just everybody crashing into each other. And I know you probably didn't see this, but it was really terrible. Here it is, and all of it's like a huge car pileup. And when I say pileup, I mean cars everywhere, like devastation, like just massiveness. All of these just kept crashing into one another. And I will say one guy of the video, if you guys haven't seen this, go check it out with our friends at ABC 7 LA. And you'll see not just, vehicles on fire, you'll see them like crashing into one another. And one guy actually dodges barely. Watch this. You're going to see this on camera. Watch, because all of these vehicles just cannot stop. And as they go, and here it is, and it's going to just white out for... Ow! Yikes. Horrible situation. That's one that I say for you, friend, cold areas, this is not something to take lightly, because that's just one of those situations you want to stay clear of, right? And watch your surroundings, right? It's pretty massive. So that's a situation you guys want to take care of and be careful of. But for those of you in the very cold parts, we got to watch out for it, right, Jesse?
Oh, heck yeah. I'm just like, oh my God, these cars are just crashing one after another. Now, if I was there, I see a Sara Lee truck on fire. So, knowing me and my fatness and hungriness, I'd probably try and save as many of the Sara Lee products as I can. But yeah, wow, did anybody pass away in this?
There were a lot of injuries. I don't know if anybody passed away on this, but it was so massive. Again, that's our nation kind of on the cold shift. Spring, yeah, you saw that, right? That guy barely missed it, and I'm like, you know what, man, you had an angel watching out for you, because he gets out just at the right time before the vehicle comes out. So when you see a pileup, get out of Dodge, man. Just get out of the way. I mean, in some cases, you're better in the vehicle if you have a bunch already kind of crash into you. But in this case, the guy was just he would have been obliterated in that vehicle. So you have to be careful there. But I saw that. I said, whoa, that's pretty massive. Mark Blevins says, good morning. Says, a van down by the river. Put a post of Chris Farley YouTube link. I'll have to check that out. L.A. Gonzalez tuning in from Atlanta, Georgia. Stephanie Reed says, hey, did you see what the Florida governor said about the mask mandate at the airport? I did not. What did he say? Yeah, I don't know the situation there. Do you, Jesse?
I have no idea what's happening in Florida right now. It's always been a crazy state, so.
Yeah, we really kind of, I don't know. But, well, let's see. What did he say? Florida and 20 other states sue to stop mask mandate for travel. Oh, okay. Oh, I see that. You know what? Again, the suing part is ridiculous on a little mask. I mean, it's so tiny. And I get having to wear a mask when you're working out. I get that. I totally get that. Work outside. That's all I got to say. I mean, I have yet to see have to go to prison or jail or pay a fine. I don't know. I'm not saying that there isn't ones that do that. I think it's interesting that he's actually kind of going forward on that. But I will say, because of the federal and then the state, I guess, look, it's up to every governor to kind of enact certain, I will say, protections or things that say, hey, but I will say it's you know what? It's hard when you mandate anything, right? You're always going to have pushback here in the States. I will say China has had masks for, I think, a good, 13, 14 years? Maybe 15, 16? Ever since, like, swine flu and other avian flus, like, and then since, like, breathing areas have been hard to breathe. I mean, they're kind of, I've never seen them protest over it. I don't know what it is about the U.S. American that kind of goes,
Wait,
I need...
Why we can't protest in China?
Well, no.
Get locked up.
Huh? Well, my point is this.
What?
My point is this. Protesting about, like, okay, cruelty or being beaten up or rights or war, that's one thing. But protesting on, like, a thin layer of something to keep you protected, like, I don't understand that still. It's get a comfortable mask then. Like, if you go to the hospital and you protest that people are sick in there and that you shouldn't be wearing a face mask, I kind of go, what's wrong with you? I would rather do the right thing. Don't get me sick and don't get me have to miss, any time at work or with my family or with life because these variants are killing people. I just don't understand that. It's hard for me. Okay, it's like, and maybe people don't get me on this, and I understand. But I get the other part of mandating. I've always said, even with vaccines, you cannot mandate them, and people are suing on that. And I will say that is something I understand going at, because some vaccines can have problems, and they're seeing that in Moderna. There's some studies about that, about some of the side effects that they had in past years. There's some new studies about Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson that are coming out right now. But I will say, at least we have something, right, to help us fight it. But whenever you mandate something, it already causes a problem. So I get this. The fight over the federal mask mandate for travel is heating up, with Governor Ron DeSantis and Attorney General Ashley Moody announcing Tuesday the state of Florida has filed suit against the Biden administration in an effort to overthrow the mandate. Oh, I see. They're overthrowing the mandate. But I thought the mandate kind of already got loosened up, didn't it? Did they put it back on? I'm so confused on this.
I have no idea.
I got that we don't anymore here, but I'm so confused on this.
Everything changes so quickly, I have no idea.
Oh, I see. So they're suing. Oh, I thought they were mandating it. Oh, I got to read this right. Florida, again, I'm just coming across this. Thank you very much bringing this to our attention, Stephanie. Florida isn't the only state involved in the effort. Oh, okay. Moody will lead a coalition of 21 states against the mandate. Again, I think it's just ridiculous. What are you doing? Are you trying to get money? Why are you suing? Why? Let's focus on the bigger issue, like prices. Let's sue gas companies for hiking it to $8 here in the U.S., right? I know some of you guys don't have that. Here in California, we do. I think it's what is it right now? $6.80?
The closest one the cheapest one around me is like $5.99. So.
And is that for like the least?
The lowest.
The lowest. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's fine. I would sue for that. Okay, like the mask mandate to keep you safe. Why are you suing on that? Moody says so. This is meant to push back on yet again another unlawful power grab by the Biden administration. Would you have done that when Trump did it? Because you guys were all Trump-like fans. The Trump administration actually enacted it, didn't they? I don't understand that. The governor and attorney general said in a news conference that they believe the mandate was unconstitutional when it was first imposed, and now there's no justifying it. I would say this. It wasn't a 100-proof situation, right? I will say there are some really good face masks, and there's certain like shields that people bought because they knew that if somebody spits at you or they cough at you, you're more prone to get something, right? It wasn't a bad thing, At first, remember when they said no one mask up? Remember that way back when? Because there were too few masks, and then all of a sudden they said, please wear a mask. I will say this. I don't like it when certain businesses are like, but I understand the safety part of it, right? Like I remember Disney was like, hey, can you put your face mask back on? I'm like, I'm drinking my water, but all right, fine. But I didn't fight it. I'm like, all right, whatever. It's an inconvenience. You know what I mean? It's an inconvenience to go to the airport and have to check in and go through the, where they check your shoes and they might do a body search. You know what I mean? It's all an inconvenience. You haven't been there lately, but you know what I mean. If you're suspicious, Jesse, they will do a body search. They have that right.
You know what? I got a body search when I went to the the airport when I went to go to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they made me go through like some sensor. For some reason I kept setting it off. I'm like, I don't have anything hidden.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I did have something hidden. I realized what was setting it off after the thing, but they had me take almost everything off. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. So I I almost want to ask, but I don't want to ask.
What did I have? I had a lactate pill. So the inside of the lactate pill has like a foil lining, a metal.
Oh, like,
So I had a small hidden pocket in my pants, and that's where it was.
you know, I didn't even think about that. That's good. That's good to know. So take everything out of your pockets, literally. Yeah. Especially that little pocket that guys have, right, in the jeans. Yeah. Okay, I get that. Oh, yeah, like an aspirin would have that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so that's what they're doing. DeSantis says it's turned the airlines into having to police this. It's creating a lot of unruly passenger situations because it's so frustrating for people. Yeah, let's do it for the people. You know what's more frustrating? Going to the hospital to have to pay for your like situation, right? With no visa. And again, I always tell people, and I've told you since the beginning, get an N95, get a even KN95. They're the same numbers, but I would rather go into the hospital with one of these on than none at all. And I don't know who has coronavirus, especially 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are really bad ones. And when they mean your life, you're going to be on a respirator for the rest of your 3-week stay. I say no, thank you. I don't want a respirator on me. I almost say if I'm going to be a brain vegetable, just pull the plug. I'm ready to die, right? So I don't know. I just don't understand this. And what are you going to get at the end of the day of the suing? I just don't understand it. I would sue for not helping us get through this.
People like to sue here.
Yeah, there's some things I understand. This one I just don't understand. I don't understand you, Florida. I really don't. And all the other states kind of going along with that. Again, would you have done it when Trump did it? I just wonder. I mean, I got my theories on Biden, but whatever. Okay, look, let's see. We got people tuning in. Eugenia Kirsten from Atlanta, Georgia as well. Wow, we love Georgia. I think we should travel to Georgia, Jesse. We should do that in a van really quick. So there you go. All right, let's see. Let's see. Eugenia says it's a better day than yesterday because it's Wednesday, middle of the week already. Wait, is today Wednesday? Oh, yeah. Did I? Oh, yeah, it is Wednesday. I completely lost track. I know, I missed Monday, and then I go like, yeah, thank you for that. Stephanie Reese says it's March and April over here. We get our real spring weather near May, and then the weather gets hot in June to October. Yeah, let's see if that happens. Greg Pretor is tuning in there. And let's see. All right, so we got lots of people tuning in on Twitter as well. LinkedIn, follow us. Aaron M. Sanchez, KMET, 1490 AM. We got to take a little break, but when we come back, Jesse's got some news around the world. Yikes. We'll talk about that next. We'll see much more right after this.
You owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state? Did you miss sending out a prior year tax return? The IRS is out to collect now more than ever, and they'll use any means necessary. They legally can and will garnish your wages, take your money, and even seize your property. If you're behind on your taxes, call the Tax Relief Hotline right now at 951-224-9000. That's 951-224-9000. 951-224-9000.
Give it all you got. Come on. Keep those hands up. You're not going to stop. Give me strength. You got this.
I've got this. I have got this. Losing control of me. Losing control. I gotta know. Losing control of me.
Did you get it? Look like you're working up a sweat there, buddy.
Yeah, you didn't take a video of me or anything, did you?
Me? Would I do that?
you're there, pay your Edison, gas company, and Verizon bills. Open extended hours Monday through Saturday. The UPS store in Beaumont, located in the Oak Valley Plaza at 1440 Beaumont Avenue. Call 951-769-5956. That's 951-769-5956. Online at the upsstorelocal.com/5027 or Google 5027. Mattress Brothers Overstock Mattress Sale. Just $3.99 for a foam-encased queen pillow top set. $3.99. Check out Mattress Brothers $3.99 Overstock Sale. Mattress Brothers at 120 West Redlands Boulevard in Redlands. The $3.99 Overstock Sale is on now. $3.99 for a foam-encased queen pillow top set. Mattress Brothers also has locations in Hemet, Riverside, and Palm Desert. The $3.99 queen pillow top sale on now. 64% of homes are underinsured, and approximately 1 in 8 drivers are underinsured. Whether it's unexpected broken windows from neighborhood kids playing, or the fender bender that your new teen driver just got in. At Little & Sons Insurance Services, they work hard to make sure you have the proper coverage to protect you and your loved ones from life's unexpected perils. Make sure you have the protection you need by working with your local independent insurance agent at Little & Sons Insurance Services. Call 1-844-9-LITTLE. That's 1-844-9-LITTLE, or online at little, the letter N, sons.com. That's littleandsons.com.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. I am seeing some disagreeing information here, something that we talked about back, and I had a theory on, but I wasn't sure, Jesse. And it was the accounting errors of yesteryear. Literally have been kind of caught up on everybody, which is why there's a huge all of a sudden adjustment, which is very important to watch, and one that I say, what are you guys doing when it comes to calculations and financials? Because everybody should be, including government, should be calculating what it is you're going to do next. Because we've been saying some things here on the show, and I know some, they're like, what? No, we're over it. And then others are like, no, we're not over it. And then I was like, no, let's go back to the way it was before the pandemic. And I go, what are you guys doing? I had this discussion with my mom. I said, you're at risk. We need to take care of you. So, if you could do anything, do it virtually. Because she's planning on doing a very big event coming up around the corner. And I say, yeah, just do it so safely. This is the number of people killed. I don't have that, but I will say it surged recently in the U.S. And this is new information, Jesse, so we need to kind of share this. It surged by more than 40%. By the way, these are deaths, okay? Now, this is here in the American states, right, of the U.S., and by newly adjusted figures from India, according to the World Health Organization, which report came out today. Now, they're talking about this, and it's bad, Jesse. I mean, 40% deaths, okay? And I was wondering why the number was kind of like stalling, because I'm like, something doesn't make sense, right? And I know is really bad. Right, 2. Well, 1 is bad. 2 is bad. 3 is bad. 4 is bad, right. Which ones are here? I would say all 4 of them. But the one that you're going to hear most is 2. They call it stealth variant. And now having a slow roll to. At first they were like, well, it's there, it's contagious, but it's less. And they would say all sorts of things, right? And I go, well, I don't think you understand the 2 variant. It's a slow roll. It's one of those where you see not coming, then by the time you get it, it kind of has like a longer time for it to stay with you. So expect to be like with it for a good 3 weeks. That's the So that's where they're really figuring that out, but they don't have numbers yet because by the 3rd, 4th, 6th week with those that have a problem already in their body, it's going to multiply in really bad ways. So that's what you want to watch about the 2 variant. The 3 variant is more like a cold. The 4 variant is more like a cold, but they're bad as well, right? And then when they combine, 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 or 1 and 4, you get even worse, right? So this number, again, they're saying according to an accounting change, is from 33,000 last week. The World Health Organization noted that countries including Chile and the United States altered how they define COVID deaths. Okay, so there's that. But basically, they're up. That's of the day. They may have altered it, but the numbers are like, whoa, like that's really bad. Now we understand why certain areas are in lockdown, other areas are not. Some areas are not listening to this, right? And when you have that many deaths, you go, whoa, 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 whoa. But then the question is, how many were in the hospitals? So you always got to look at the hospital numbers to see what the occupancy is. And if that's 100% down, at like a good number would be about 63% of occupancy, especially ICU beds, then you're fine, right? But if they're at 80 and above, you got to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. You got at least a staggered situation. Remember when we did the tier situation? We haven't seen any tier situation as of late. Remember, I always disagree with the purple. I was like, purple's kind of like lame.
Right? You think it would be red because, red, stay away, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I feel like they got to update that people understand, and then just go, look, we just got it. All they have to say is we've got to keep our hospitals free and clear for those of you that need it in any situation. And because that's what the COVID one really kind of amplifies, right? You only have so many doctors, you only have so many nurses to take care of you in any one city. So you hope that yours is ahead of it, right? 4,000, let me get that right, 4,000 deaths from Maharashtra, state in India, that were not included in the deaths, were added all of a sudden. The World Health Organization data are becoming progressively less representative, less timely, and less robust. In other words, people are not accounting for what's going on. This inhibits our collective ability to track where the virus is, how it is spreading, and how it is evolving. Information analysis that remain critical to effectively end the acute phase of the pandemic. That's where we're at. We're in the acute phase. The agency warned that less surveillance would harm efforts to detect variants and undermine a potential response. That's true, especially because these vaccines kind of pay attention to areas that are kind of like, surge is such a weird word because people hear it and they almost go, whatever. But I say you don't want to surge in the hospitals. Okay, again, you could get an accident like those that pile up there and then have to go to the hospital. That inundates a hospital area, right? So you want to only deal with the more severe ones, right, or the very extreme ones, right? The ones you're like, okay, you can wait, because you only have so many hospital beds, right, at any one time. So it's like that. Numerous countries across Europe, North America, and elsewhere have lifted COVID protocols, relying on high levels of vaccination to prevent infectious spikes. But again, they do not have the OM2 variant, right? Like, where's the spring edition of any vaccine shot? They're not here yet. But they're coming out. I said they would come out probably. I was hoping by early March they would come out, but I think by mid-April they'll come out. And they need to, right? I know my mom's going to be on the first of that because she qualifies for that 100% because she's got added risk. British authorities have said that while they expect to see more cases, they have not seen an equivalent rise in hospitalizations and deaths despite the global decline in cases. China locked down Shanghai to curb the outbreak that has caused the country's biggest wave of disease since the virus was first detected in the Chinese city of Wuhan in 2019. That was late 2019. Do you remember that? Right before 2020. U.S. officials expanded the use of vaccine boosters Tuesday, as regulators said Americans age 50 and older can get us. I hate when they say, what do you mean now it's a second booster? Like we had, I don't understand that because we had the spring edition of 2021. We had the fall edition of 2021. This would be the third one in many cases, right? So edition, I guess. I don't understand why they keep saying second. It makes no sense. But there you go. So look, and it says at least 4 months after the last vaccination. The reason for that, if you guys wonder, again, we keep saying this, your booster shot or whatever you want to call it is good anywhere from 4 to 6 months. Okay, period, end of story. That's why people that are like, no, I got it. It's not an immunization, people. Immunization is completely different than a vaccination. Just think flu shot. Yeah, I got everything. Okay, so there you go. And like I say, for those that are kind of questioning it, if you buried somebody or if you know somebody that's died of coronavirus, the chances are you already do, right? So have we crossed that? I think we crossed. Have we crossed the million threshold already of coronavirus here in the States, Jesse?
You talk about for 1 million deaths?
Yeah.
Good question. No idea. Because every time I look at those numbers, I'd be like, yeah, I'm trying. I don't want to.
Yeah, I know. I guess if anything, it goes, okay, this is where we were. Did we foresee this? Did some see this? Some did. Some did not. Some are hopeful. And then you go, okay, well, where's it all coming from? And some areas are outpacing others, I will say that. But the U.S. has kind of been in a front line of that, and I really wish they were not. I'm going to look at the world meter or worldometer, and let's see. And the world, it's kind of leveled off at 6 million. But again, these numbers are kind of not being reported as much. I think the situation that I go, whoa, 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 what's happening here? Why are we not reporting it, right? I want to know. I want to know how many like heart disease. I want to know how many cancer. You know what I mean? Like they have these numbers for a reason, right? There is an accounting situation for a reason. It lets us know what we need to do. Look, when you run a business, you need to make sure you have supplies on hand, right? That allows you to buy enough supplies, allows you to have enough supplies, allows you, the amount of staff you need, how many you need to hire, right? Like there's counties and cities that need this information in order to know, okay, what do we need to be prepared with that we don't already have, right? So that's what I'm going to go with. But people have different questions about that. I don't really know. So anyway, Jesse, you got some news over there. What's going on?
Yeah, do you remember when we were talking about, I think it was last Friday, when that kid that fell off that ride in Florida?
How could I forget? Yes.
Yeah, apparently more information came out. So apparently it says that he was locked in, but the fact that he was 50 pounds overweight.
Oh, they did not say that.
Yeah.
They're blaming him? They should blame the manager for getting,
No, they're just saying that that's probably why it failed. Because, he's like 340 something pounds, 6'5". He's a big guy. He's a big boy. So, these rides have limits, height and weight.
Well, again, that's management's.
I know. So I believe it's totally on the thing.
He doesn't know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other ride people was like, yeah, he wasn't able to get on any of the other rides. But why did they let him on this one? So it's sad all around. But people need to watch out. And also, yeah, that's just horrible. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, because I'd be like, and I get it. I get there are limits. Okay, when everybody gets in on like an elevator, you're like, and you go, doom, doom, right? When it goes up and down, you're like, who needs to get off? I ate a steak. I apologize.
Oh my God, I do that all the time too. I'll be like, bruh. Go off.
Exactly. I'm going on a diet tomorrow, guys. Like, we can get through this. So you hope it doesn't stall you. They all look at you and go, what? But yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of weird things going on around the world, but I will say keep you guys safe. Let's see what social media is saying over there. Algenia Kirsten says, I have a bionic leg. It goes off usually every time at the LAX or JFK. I just get ready to, and you know what I would do with that? There's like a fast pass situation there, right? You can get approved ahead of time. That way they know that. And then you just go right on in. It's actually much faster. You have to get kind of like screened. They do, I think, a quick background check. I can't remember. And they just go ahead and get you ahead of that. That'll save you a lot of time, especially if you go on in the airport a lot. But she says always have a plan B or C given any circumstances, as according to her mama. Think smart. Yeah, exactly. Think smart, because there are some weird stuff going on. Now, of course, there are a lot of things in the world. What are you going to do to stay safe? I will say, Jesse, you're doing a lot of stuff to stay safe. I mean, you've been pretty consistently good. I know you got sick a couple of times, but you kind of, you got a good immunity, right? Do you take anything for your immunity to get even more better?
Negatory. If I rarely get sick, and if I do, I usually just take like those vitamin C things.
Yeah.
And usually the only things that take me down is like if it's a really bad flu, or usually most of the time when I do get sick, I'll just like stagger for a bit, but I'll be fine later on during the day.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about my allergies. Shoot.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I've been taking elderberry gummies, and I got some for my mom, and you know what? They're a little pricey, not gonna lie, but they were turned on to me by my family member, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and check this out. There's a lot of different versions of it. It's a good one to have and add. I know my mom got another vitamin C. We went to Sprouts the other day and got her some stuff. And anything you can do to get your immunity up. Look, there's still colds, there's still regular viruses like the flu. There's still things out there that you want to be safe from. Just, be safe and don't make a big thing of the situation whenever they say, hey, face mask again. I think it's like, it goes back to this, man. When you go into a home and you have to babysit, I remember having to babysit like this little one, and when he got sick, I was like, I'm not getting myself sick. I don't want strep throat. I treat it like that. I got into face masks early of probably 2018 and 2019 when I discovered them, and I kept them in my backpack. But it was it was a running joke before coronavirus. I would say, yeah, I keep these. I know what I look like, but whatever. Maybe I was okay with it ahead of time. But I just didn't want to get strep throat. You know what I mean? When I babysit. Thankfully, I don't babysit anymore. But when the kids get sick, you get sick, everyone gets sick. I just don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? So now that the 3 and 4 variant are here, it's kind of like, are we going to stay safe through it all? I would hope the answer is yes. So people be aware of why the numbers all of a sudden are whoop. It's because they're just. Honestly, now they're underreporting deaths. That's a bad thing. Okay, they got to report deaths, even if you don't care about the numbers of how many people are being tested. Again, the tests are the ones that they do at the hospitals. Those are the ones they account for. They do not account for home tests. When you do it, you don't report to everybody. Go, oh, I have mom. So that's the thing about home testing. Okay, so if you do have it, good job for seeing if you have it and staying home and saying, hey, work or school, we got to be careful and, I got to stay safe. But those numbers are not being accounted for. So that's why we're going to see a jump in deaths all of a sudden, I guarantee it. All right, people, we're going to take a huge break. We'll see you tomorrow. We've got some really cool stuff tomorrow. We have an Academy Award nominee, for her short. And we'll talk about that tomorrow, as well as some cool ways to stay healthy. Yeah, some pretty cool technologies. We'll see that tomorrow right here on The Morning Show. Bye-bye, everyone. All right, still here. I just want to jump in on this and give some interesting perspective on this. Whoever's tuning in, we appreciate you. Thank you for doing so. And again, lots of news. Some of the stuff I didn't cover right away because, I know we have limited time and I don't want to be that guy. But there is a lot of stuff happening in the world, and some of us are kind of just trying to keep up with it, and some of us are just trying to get through it all, right? So these are some of the headlines, and I think it's important for us to understand it. There are always things going to happen in the world that you always have to kind of make an adjustment on, right? And I would say this, in your area in the U.S. or abroad, and I know we have some friends, I think, in Australia. I know my mom has friends there, as well as New Zealand and other areas where they're on full lockdown, by the way. And they're like, we're going to stay safe. We're going to do the responsible thing. But it's almost like a repeat of 2020. So here's what I would say ahead of it. Remember what it was like in March, April, May, and June. Okay, we had the lockdowns all of a sudden, and it was like a good 3 weeks, right? And everything was bare, right? Everything was like, whoa. When you go out, it was like, which was, I'm not going to lie, it was pretty awesome traffic-wise because you could get anywhere, everywhere very quick here in LA, which is almost unheard of when there's traffic, right? So you saw when there was like a huge amount of people, but you're like, wow, isn't it awesome when nobody's on the road? I was like that. I was seeing the positive of that. But then, of course, you got, people alone. You got people, bunkering down with each other. And then you got people just honestly not prepared for it, right? So I would say this, be prepared for at any time having virtual, have a good data plan. And I know many of you that tune in do have a data plan. Have a good supply of at least a good, week and a half of supplies. That way there is no surge of people going to the, market. I know some people deliver or they order online. I know my mom does that, and it keeps her safe, and she just gets whatever she needs when she needs it. It's a little bit of a price, but at the gas tank right now, boy, oh boy, the price there, huh? And then it saves you time, effort, and money, and it pays somebody else, a job, and they get paid, something. And it's a good way of doing, a pandemic era, right? But I will say some of these things are going to last beyond the pandemic. You know, I know we talk pandemic, or epidemic. There is no such thing as an endemic. There's the end of a virus when you have the right vaccinations for everybody, right? And then you stamp it out. And then whenever you see it, kind of like, you know, viruses that were of yesteryear, polio, right? You know, measles, right? Things that like were a very big thing, but we didn't have a handle on it. So research has to be done. More information has to come out about that. I know some information is coming out about Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, and then other ones that are around the world. Of course, those are the top 3 here that are doing anything about anything. But I will say just be aware of what's happening in the next few days, okay? Because in the next few days, you're going to see a huge change in the media about why people are going to need to be more safe than sorry. Okay, we're going back to that. So if you're relaxed, be prepared to be unrelaxed. Okay, be prepared to do what you need to do in order to be ahead of this next. We'll call it a wave. We'll call it a wave or surge or whatever many different things that you want to call it. Because it's already here, actually. If you look at the numbers, it's already been a surge. I don't know why they're like, is a surge coming? It's actually already here if you do the numbers. But you got to be careful, okay? Let's see. Oh, yeah, this is the latest. Again, good old CDC. I don't know why we listen to my brother listen to the World Health Organization, but here you go. They say everyone over 50 can get a COVID shot, okay? Especially important for higher risk people. That's what they call them. Let's see, officials say everyone over 50 can get a 4th COVID shot. I'm like, where's the 4th one at? Johnson & Johnson only had 1 each. You know what I mean? That'd be the 3rd shot or whatever. I call it the spring edition of 2022. Let's just keep it very simple. It was green-lighted for everyone over the age of 50 by public health officials yesterday, kicking off the regulatory process for shots to likely be available in pharmacies this week. Everyone 12 and older is already eligible for a shot 5 months after their initial vaccine series if they received the mRNA vaccine like Pfizer or Moderna or Johnson & Johnson. And remember, the reason for that is 6 months, okay? Maximum. Just remember that. 6 months maximum, okay? So when you do your little number system of your math, always look at 6 months, okay, from your last shot. That's your immunity against a virus. And the more recent one will always be the more updated one, right? You never want to get the one from last year of spring 2021. Does that make sense? Because it's already outdated. It's like taking old medication. Why would you do that? Because it's only good against certain variants, not all variants. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Because you don't stagger like that. That's why I don't like the whole booster talk about it. It's like get the one that is most recent for all the viruses coming up in and around you, right? So do that. But those are 50 determined to be a vulnerable age group. Officials at the Food and Drug Administration. Now, I will say this. It'll be available to everybody. I can almost guarantee it. But they have a certain amount of supply. So they're going, okay, first and foremost, anybody over this. Remember when they did it like 65 and over? Remember that? Do you remember that in 2020? They put those first. I will say that. It's kind of like Titanic, right? You put the women and the kids first in the lifeboats, right? So that's why it's important that for your friends and family members, be aware of it. This is why it's coming out. I know for some people, they're like, well, we need another one. And then others are like, no. And you're going to see protests. You're going to see people, no, it's not a mandate. It's just saying, look, better, especially if you already have an autoimmune disease or you're at risk. When CDC says do it, I say, yeah, I might as well, right? I know I've already told my mom she was going to get the Pfizer one because I knew it was coming out. I knew it was going to be good against again, not all the variants because 2, 3, and 4 are very new. Okay, so 1, yeah, it's very good, and you know, anybody that loves their family will do the right thing and just say, you know what, hey, it's there, why not? They've decided that the data on immunity justifies making another shot available. I say that's the dumbest thing the way they say that. Because at the end of the day, you need the newest shot because there is no immunity that you get from the vaccine long term. 6 months. You just put that in your head. 6 months is the average of any shot. That's all you got to do. All right, put that in your head, and then you'll be fine with that. Okay. Because some of this news, you're like, it's almost puts you in a way like, no, it's only for this or that. Just use your thinking, man. You'll be fine. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky said it was especially important for those 65 and older and those 50 and older with underlying medical conditions. Yeah, it adds up. It's really bad. When you look at, they almost don't share all the stuff that can happen with you. But if you know of your family friends, like I said, the one that we had to unfortunately bury, 28, vomiting blood, liver problem, and or kidney disease, and the really did havoc on that body. 28. It's bringing up blood. Walensky said in a statement on Tuesday, let's see, yeah, would be benefit from receiving an additional dose. Dr. Peter Marks, director of the FDA's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, told reporters in a briefing about the decision that he would urge his own family members to heed the latest advice. And I would say that. It's not a mandate. It's just, hey, man, do you want to be safe? I've always been against certain things when it came to the flu shot, right? And so I was like, oh, whether my mom, not so much, but again, she has diabetes. And I will say this, her numbers are much better for that, but still 65 and over, and or as they're putting it at 50, I say, hey, you know what, good job. And again, there's initial phases, so there'll be more phases, I'm sure, of this spring edition of 2022 that, will be made more available. But, Moderna's on the head of that. I know Pfizer's on the head of that. Johnson & Johnson, not so much. But we'll see about that. Sometimes they take the time, but I will say this: long term, if you did the math on these, I mean, they're actually up there in a good way. I know some of the news is always skewed against them. I don't know why. I almost go like, all right, like who's paying for the ads, right? Whatever you know. My opinion, not yours. That's fine. Let's see. This one says, if it were my relatives, I would be sending them out to do this again. Because after all, COVID has had a really disproportional adverse effect on people 65 years of age and older, and those with comorbidities, or other problems, I would say. Mark said officials decided on the range of 50 and up because about 1/3 of people between 50 and 65 have significant things going on, right? And this really just amplifies all bad. Lungs, tissue in the brain, tissue in the body. It's just everything to everyone. It's really sad. Mark says, looks like every 6 months, 1 year will need a vaccine. Definitely just like a flu shot. Well, I would say this: don't get the 1 year in your head. Get 6 months in your head. Okay, then you understand the spring edition and the fall edition. That's why they space them out. A lot of people didn't know that. When the first edition of spring 2021 came out, it came out I think in March, right? But then count that: March, April, May, June, July, August, September. That's why some were not understanding. And all that the pharmaceutical had to say is this has a maximum time in any one body, 6 months. And some people 4 months because of, metabolism is a situation. The way your body is different than others. How much food do you eat? How much food do you take in? Are you able to burn it off faster than others? That means your body is working, right, more than the average, right? Are you more active? What's your lifestyle like, right? That is something that people don't take into account. We've talked about this on the show, and with professionals, we've talked about this as well, just to confirm it. But if you just say, hey, it has a 4 to 6 month, but see, it was so fast and so much information was coming at everybody, they didn't just stick to the obvious. Look, any vaccine that you have has a 4 to 6 month time period. That's why when you get the flu shot, the reason they do it in the flu season usually is, what is it? I think the earliest is ever September, October, November, right? And then December, right, for the season of the flu. But they know by the time of the next year, it's going to wane, right, like in April, May, and June, right? They know, okay, so at least you get through the flu season. So it's usually anywhere from 4 to 6 months. Just get that in your head, and you'll be ahead of every single time, okay? That's one of those things I try to get people to kind of understand, and some pharmacists are like, what? No. And I'm like, no, look at the information, the data. I'm like, no. I'm like, oh, God, whatever. Okay, so, I've gone at it with certain, I'm like, oh, you guys don't do the research. But again, we talk to smart people here on ABC, and you just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. That's all I say. Let's see. He sought to emphasize that the additional booster shouldn't dissuade people from getting their initial booster, which half of eligible people have yet to do. But see, that's the problem. They're giving wrong information. the initial of spring 2020. Do you get where I'm going with this? I don't feel like a broken record. The spring 2021 is good against the initial variants, but not against the later variants. It's like taking old medication. Why do I want that? You want the more recent one that takes care of all of them. That's the information that they don't get right. You don't start off right beginning from the very beginning. You start off with the more recent one, just so you know. Okay, just do that. Just say, hey, I want the most recent one. That's it. When you go with the flu shot, you don't go for like 3 years ago, right? You go for the one that is more current. It has all of them available in there. So that's an important thing to know about that. I feel sometimes Pfizer and Moderna don't really do a good job educating. CDC definitely, and others, just to say, hey, make it very simple for the people. Okay, they may not understand the science of it, but just this is it. This is what you need to know. These are the guidelines. There you go. Right. I hope in the next few months people get a little smart on that, but we shall see. So they said, just to reiterate, the good news is that for most people who have been vaccinated and had anyone is continuing to provide, they continue to provide you with good. Well, see, this is dumb. He said the original is continuing to provide you with good. No, it doesn't. 6 months. You could just said it. Anyway, there's information all over. Okay, several countries, including Israel, Chile, and Sweden, have begun offering COVID doses to older adults and other at-risk groups. They're ahead of us. Yep. Dr. Anthony Fauci, chief medical advisor, has said he expects more that would reconstitute people back to the maximum level of antibodies. In other words, they're ready to go. Right, against 1. Again, 2, 3, and 4. I think they need to show this information that it's not good against 2, 3, and 4. They really do. Because then you'll see what's good. Well, was it good against this? Well, what was it meant to be? This one was researched in November, December, and January. Okay, the one's coming out. So any virus that was very pronounced, that's what this one is. And it's very centralized. The ones here in the U.S. are different completely than those like in Africa, than those in Australia, than those in Asia, because of what is going on there. Does that make sense? So I hope that gets some information to everybody, because that's what we're dealing with. Now, the other situation that we're watching very closely is Russia in Ukraine. And that situation's kind of gone like, okay, what next? I know that there was some talks that were hopeful. We talked about that yesterday. Will they go next level? And the answer is, well, that depends on certain things. Will Russia continue in advancing war? The question of that will depend on what U.S. does. Depending on what U.S. does will depend on what other countries do. Everybody's seeing what Russia and the U.S. do right now. Again, the ones to suffer, though, is those in Ukraine. Don't forget about those people in Afghanistan, the ones that were abandoned 100%, right? And I know we have friends and family there. I guarantee it. Through, probably 1 to 3 different separations. You ever see the Kevin Bacon special where everybody's like 6 degrees separation from Kevin Bacon, and then you go into your face where you go, hey, how do we have that person connected, right? That means you're like 1 degree of separation, I believe. Is it 2? Yeah, like through one person that you know the other person. So it works like that. We're very interconnected on media, and I will say keep on media, all right? Don't delete your Facebook accounts. Don't delete your Instagram accounts. Don't delete your Twitter accounts. Don't delete your contacts. Don't delete your messages. Coronavirus has this thing that people are starting to see, and it's called memory loss, okay? And I know because I experienced this with one who actually died early 2021, and she wasn't making sense to her family. Then the ambulance came and they said she's like, there's something going on up there, but it's something that the coronavirus situation did for her. I think she had let's see, that was 2021. That was Delta. I think she had Delta or Delta Plus. I'm not really sure. But that one actually does some problems for the brain. So there is long haul COVID. So if people have memory problems or shortage of memory, be aware of it. Okay, be aware that, hey, I'll give you an example. If you got like in a bad emergency all of a sudden, do you know your family's telephone numbers? No. But what happens if your phone disappears, right? So don't delete your friends. Don't delete your accounts. I know some people are like, no, I'm going to get it. No, don't do that. Because if we go on lockdown again, we need to be connected with one another, okay? I want to be able to check in on people. I want to be able to say, hey, are you all right? I know some people I've checked in on, and they say, yeah, I'm right, and I've had to check in on a couple, and then they're like, my mom died, my mom passed away. There's the great thing about, people used to ask me this on different media stuff. They said, well, what do you think of social media? This is when social media is coming out. I go, you know what? It has a lot of positives. It has a lot of negatives. Use it for the positives, right? It's how you use it, right? It's great for marketing. It's great to get the word out about a product. It's good for, hey, this movie, that movie. It's word of mouth done. And my sense of it, look, there are warnings of it, but my point is this. Don't get rid of the thing that connects us all, right? Like this ability to talk with you guys. I can come on at any time. I could play a game. I could play, something. I know I'm writing a script. I'm writing a couple children's stories. I'm spending my time in a way, to maximize what happens down the line. But do the same thing. There's online classes. There's things to do. Because if we go into lockdown, don't go into misery mode. Don't go into misery mode. Look at things that can help your family. Look at things that can help your career. Look at things that you've always wanted to do. And I say, if you always wanted to write a book, this is what I do simply. Okay, what I do simply is I put it on my phone, I record it, and then I transcribe it. I put it up on YouTube, get the transcription. I download that, and then I put that up. So there's a lot of ways to do it. Just stay safe doing it, and then be aware that this is kind of where we're going with things, all right? Okay, we're going to take a huge break. We'll see you tomorrow. Make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well.